Nutrition in plants.
Hello children, I welcome each one of you to another biology online class. It's a long gap, I think 2 weeks gap after we discussed the first topic. What is the chapter that we discussed in the last class? Do you remember? Yes, nutrition in plants. We have not gone deep into the chapter, we have just discussed how plants are classified based on the nutrition. And we also discussed in detail that is autotrophic mode of nutrition. How plants prepare food. I am sure that all of you would have read the chapter and done all the homework and completed all the exercise in the text also. I called few parents and they also told me that you are interestingly doing the work. Continue the same. So last, we'll just at a glance see what all we discussed in the last class. Because 2 weeks time you would have forgotten, but I am sure that you will be able to recall when I say these points. Plants generally are classified into two. They are autotrophs and heterotrophs. Heterotrophs can again be classified into two, that is parasites and saprophytes. Apart from this, so if it is the mode of nutrition, how will you tell it? Autotrophic mode of nutrition, heterotrophic mode of nutrition, parasitic mode of nutrition, saprophytic mode of nutrition, and two more are there. What were they? Yes, symbiotic mode of nutrition, and another different one is insectivorous plants. So, only the outline we discussed, how this based on nutrient, how they are classified, how they are divided, or what are the different types of nutrition. Next, today, before going to the topics for today, there is one more thing connected to the autotrophs. That is, generally we say green plants prepare food, isn't it? And the process is called as photosynthesis. But have you seen colorful plants also? Even in our school campus, you would have seen a lot of crottons. Colorful leaves are there for the crottons. Have you watched those leaves? Yes. Can those plants prepare food? Have you ever thought if those plants can prepare food, where do they get food from? Yes. Colorful plants with colorful leaves or colorful leaves can also prepare food. How are they able to prepare food? Because colorful plant leaves also have chlorophyll in them. Though they are colorful doesn't mean they don't have chlorophyll. They also have chlorophyll in them. But what happens is the darker shades, for example brown color, red color, etc. will mask the green color. So we may not be able to see it as green color, but still they have green color pigment called chlorophyll. Leaves other than green also can prepare food because they also have green color pigment chlorophyll. But only thing that happens there is the darker shades are masking. They mask the green color. They cover the green color. That is a 2-mark question. Can leaves other than green prepare food? Of course, they can prepare. The darker shades may mask the green color. So to see, we may not understand that there is green color pigment, but still they have green color pigment and so they can prepare food. Next. The new types which we are going to discuss today are the first one, yes, symbionts. Symbiosis. The mode of nutrition is symbiosis. In symbiosis, what is symbiotic mode of nutrition? It is a nutrition in which two organisms live together and they share shelter and nutrients. They depend upon each other for their survival. Symbiosis is the mode of nutrition in which two organisms live together and depend upon each other for their survival, for their food. Clear? For example, lichens. Lichen is a plant whose body is made up of fungus and algae. The plant is called as lichen. What is the specialty of this lichen? The plant body is made up of fungus and algae. Algae is green in color. Algae can prepare its own food. Fungus is a non-green plant. It does not have chlorophyll. So can they prepare food? No. Understood? So this lichen, part of the lichen is made up of fungus and other part is made up of algae. Fungus cannot prepare food, but what do? They will grow, they usually seem to grow near the water source. So fungal hyphae, they will grow near the water source and help algae to get water and minerals. They will absorb water and minerals and supply to algae. And algae will prepare food. And the food prepared by algae is given to the fungus. Mutual dependence. Clear? Understood? Algae and fungus, they depend upon each other. So in lichen, fungus will provide water and minerals to algae and algae will provide food to fungus. This mode of nutrition is called as symbiosis. Parasites depends upon host body, another living organism. Saprophytes, they depend upon dead and decayed matters. Symbiosis, two organisms depend upon each other for their survival. Understood? For example, lichen. Another example is leguminous plants. In leguminous plants, in touch-me-not plant, you know what is touch-me-not plant? You would have seen the leaves will close when you touch a plant. That is touch-me-not plant, mimosa plant. If you uproot a touch-me-not plant, I will show you that. If you uproot a touch-me-not plant, you can see there are small swellings in the root. Those swellings are called as nodules. What are the swellings called? Nodules. Inside these nodules, there are certain bacteria. Understood? These bacteria, they absorb nitrogen from the atmosphere and fix into the soil. Plants cannot take nitrogen from the atmosphere. Major part of atmospheric air is nitrogen. But plants are not able to utilize this nitrogen directly. It cannot be taken through the stomatas into the plant. Plants can take nitrogen only from the soil along with water. When they absorb water, this nitrogenous compounds will also enter into the plant. So what actually is happening is the bacteria in the nodules will absorb nitrogen and fix in the soil. They will make into similar ones and fix in the soil. So plants can utilize this nitrogen along with water. Understood? Plants will prepare food. Can bacteria prepare food? No. Bacteria, how is it helping the plant? It will absorb nitrogen and provide for the plant. In turn, what is the plant doing to the bacteria? It will provide food for the bacteria. That is also an example for symbiosis. Two organisms, bacteria and leguminous plants. Or bacteria and touch-me-not plant. Understood? Next, there are certain fungi living near the roots of the plants. That is also a symbiotic existence. Example, third example. Fungi which is living near the roots of certain plants will help the plant to absorb water. In turn, plants will provide food for the fungus. So how many examples have we discussed? 3 examples. Lichen, leguminous plant and bacteria, ordinary plants, certain trees, roots of the trees and fungus, fungal association. So with that, symbiosis is over. Next mode of nutrition that we see is in insectivorous plants. What are insectivorous plants? In short, the plant which eats insects. Isn't it? Are these plants autotrophs or heterotrophs? Of course, the answer which comes to your mind is heterotrophs. Why? Because it is depending on insects. The fact is that these insectivorous plants are actually autotrophic. They are green in color. If they are green, they can prepare food. They will have chlorophyll pigment and they will be able to synthesize their own food. So, speciality of these insectivorous plants are they show both autotrophic and heterotrophic mode of nutrition. So far, we didn't discuss any plant like that. Insectivorous plants are showing both autotrophic and heterotrophic mode of nutrition. How are they becoming autotrophs? insectivorous plants are green in color and so they can prepare their own food. They are also called as heterotrophs because they depend upon insects also for their survival. Why do they depend upon insects? Because usually these insectivorous plants are seen in places where there is mineral deficiency. In order to compensate this mineral deficiency, they eat insects. Example for insectivorous plants are pitcher plant, sundew plant and Venus flytrap. Pitcher plant, what is pitcher? Jug. The meaning is jug. So tip of the leaf is modified into a jug. When an insect comes and sits on the leaf, not purposely, accidentally, it may slip and fall into the jug. Inside the jug-shaped structure, there are hairs which are pointing downwards. Clear? And at the bottom of the jug, there is an acidic solution, acidic substance. So when the insect slips and falls down, it will try to escape and come out. When the insect is trying to come out, what happens? The hairy structures will rise up. It will block the way. The only result is it will fall down into the acidic solution and it will get digested. The nutrients in the insect's body will be absorbed by the plant and it will use it for the growth. In Venus flytrap also similar thing happens. Venus flytrap and sundew plant. All these pictures I will show you, so you will know how the arrangement is there. The arrangement of the flowers, arrangement of these plants help them to trap the insects. So with that, we have come to the end of the different modes of nutrition. Today we discussed symbiotic mode and the mode of nutrition in insectivorous plants. Insectivorous plants show both autotrophic and heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Last topic in your chapter is how do nutrients get replenished in the soil, renewed in the soil. What is the last topic? How do nutrients get replenished in the soil? You know, when plants are repeatedly grown in a piece of land, the nutrients in the soil will be used up by the plants and the soil will lack nutrients. How can you renew it? Something comes to your mind? Yes. We usually add fertilizers or manures. Yes, that is correct. We add fertilizers or manures and renew it. But naturally, some of the bacteria living in the root nodules, previously in symbiotic mode I told you, some of the bacteria which are living in the root nodules of the leguminous plants will absorb nitrogen and fix it to the soil. So the soil will get enriched in nitrogen. So nitrogen which is used up by growing plants will be again renewed or replenished with the help of bacteria living in the root nodules of leguminous plants. This lesson is very simple. Hope all the topics are clear. With that, we have come to the end of this chapter. After this chapter, please go through all the exercise, complete all the exercise. Before I start the next chapter in biology, I will be discussing the answers related to the questions in the text. Here, after the pictures, I will be giving you the questions which you have to write in the notebook. I won't be giving you separate worksheet. I will be giving the questions at the end of the slide. Please note down the questions and answer to all the questions in the notebook in front. If you have any doubt with the answers, you may write the answers in the back of the notebook and just clear it with me. You can call me and clear the doubts. Or you can clear all the doubts in the meeting. Hope you will do it systematically and complete all the work by the next class. Thank you.
Here are few questions which should be written in front of the biology note. First question, define symbiosis. For this, you have to write the definition from the slide. Second, explain symbiosis with the help of an example. For this, you have to write the definition first as a first paragraph And second paragraph, you have to explain any one of the example. For example, page number 7, last paragraph, you can see in organisms called lichens. From there you have to start till the end of the paragraph. That is one example. If you want to write about the fungus and the plant, you can write that, or leguminous plant, bacteria living in the leguminous roots of leguminous plants can also be written. Whichever is comfortable for you, you can explain. Third, name the bacterium which converts nitrogen into its usable form. This is a one-word answer, so you may write in a sentence. Fourth, list any 2 ways by which nutrients get replenished in the soil. You just have to write point number 1, first method, point number 2, second method. That's all. Question number 5. Name the part of the leaf that absorbs solar energy. This is also a one-word answer, but you need to write in a sentence form. Sixth one. Give 2 examples each for the following. First one, parasite. Second, saprophyte. Third, symbionts. Here when you write about parasites, if you are writing bacteria or fungi, I'm just giving an example, you need not write bacteria, fungi, you should write certain bacteria and certain fungi, because all bacteria and all fungi are neither parasites nor all are saprophytes. Seventh one, name 3 insectivorous plants. That you will be able to write one after the other. Eighth one, draw a neat labeled diagram showing photosynthesis. For this, you have to draw the diagram on page number 3, which is there on page number 3, figure 1.3. Neatly draw the diagram. You need not use color pencil. If you are using color pencil, no problem, but I don't want you to use sketch pen for drawing. You can use color pencils for shading, but don't use sketch pens. Now I'll tell you the answers for the exercise in this lesson, that is which is given on page 9 and 10. Question number 1. Why do organisms take food? The answer for that question is given in the previous page box. What you have learnt. In that first point you may write. Second question, distinguish between a parasite and a saprotroph. For this, the answer is definition and the example that you have already written in the note. If you have not written the example, you may please write the examples along with the definition. Third question, how would you test the presence of starch in leaves? Already something you have learned in 6th standard, but I will be explaining that particular activity along with the next chapter. Before I start the next chapter, I will explain that activity. So after that, you may write that in the notebook. So my request to you is, after you have finished all the answers of this chapter, please leave 1 page, that is 2 sides. If you have more doubts in the answers when you write, you may leave 2 pages, maximum 2 pages is enough. So that whatever answers you have written wrong or whatever you have to rewrite, all that you can write in these 2 pages along with the first chapter itself. Hope you have understood what I said. So this answer after the next class you can write. Fourth one, give a brief description of the process of synthesis of food in green plants. This already you have finished writing. Okay, previous class I had given you this homework. Next, question number 5. Show with the help of a sketch that plants are the ultimate source of food. I think the same question I have given in the slide also. Draw a neat label diagram showing photosynthesis. Same is the answer for this question number 5. So if you write once, it's enough. If you have attended the question given in the slide, you need not write the question number 5. If you are writing these answers before the slide, then you may write this answer. Don't write the question what is there in the slide, that is draw a neat label diagram of photosynthesis. The answer is same for both these questions. Okay. Question number 6. Fill in the blanks. Green plants are called dash, that is autotrophs, since they synthesize their own food. I hope all of you have finished writing these answers in the textbook. If you have written, it's very good so that you can correct your answers. I expect everyone to write these answers before I give you the answer, because this work was last week's class. That is why I am giving the answers now. Next time onwards, be systematic and complete all the exercise as and when I complete the topic. Okay. Now B. The food synthesized by plants is stored as dash starch. C. In photosynthesis, solar energy is absorbed by the pigment called chlorophyll. D. During photosynthesis, plants take in carbon dioxide and release oxygen gas. Question number 7. Name the following. A parasitic plant with yellow, slender and branched stem. What is it? Yes, Cuscuta. Second, a plant that is partially autotrophic. Insectivorous plant. A plant, generally we call insectivorous plant. Since they have written a plant, you have to name the plant. You can write either pitcher plant, sundew plant or Venus flytrap. You can name the plant and in the bracket you write insectivorous plant, or you write insectivorous plant and in the bracket you can write one of these plants. Next, 3. The pores through which leaves exchange gases. Stomata. 8. Question number 8. Tick the correct answer. Cuscuta is an example of. Correct answer is second one, parasite. B. The plant which traps and feeds on insect is. The correct answer is 4. Pitcher plant. 9. Match the items given in column 1 with those in column 2. I request you to write the numbers for column 1 and then write the same number for the matching answer, matching word in column 2. So number it, chlorophyll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number column 1 items. Then you write the same number on the words near the word which is given in column 2. Chlorophyll matches with leaf. Second, nitrogen, rhizobium. Third, Cuscuta, parasite. Fourth, animals, heterotrophs. Fifth, insects, pitcher plant. Question number 10. Mark T if the statement is true and F if it is false. Carbon dioxide is released during photosynthesis. False. What is released? Oxygen. Second, plants which synthesize their food are called saprotrophs. False. Question number 11. Choose the correct option from the following. Which part of the plant takes in carbon dioxide from the air for photosynthesis? Answer is second one, stomata. 12. Choose the correct option from the following. Plants take carbon dioxide from the atmosphere mainly through their. Correct answer is leaves. Question number 13. Why do farmers grow many fruits and vegetable crops inside large greenhouses? What are the advantages to the farmers? This is a homework for you to write at the back of the notebook. Copy this question at the back of the notebook. Think and write the answer. I am not going to give you the answer now. Next class we will discuss it. So please write this answer at the back of the notebook. I want every one of you to read the lesson minimum 2 to 3 times. After that you have to start answering. Do the work very neatly without any striking work. Write the heading within double line. Write the date before you start the work. After each answer, draw a line and maintain your notebook neat and tidy way. I should not see any scribbling work in the notebook. I have already instructed you in the previous class. Complete all your work before we go to the next chapter, that is nutrition in animals. And for the next test, after this lesson there will be a test on the next day. I will be including questions from the previous topic also. Previous class topics, that is from the full chapter will be included for the test.